Hey there. Good morning, folks. Welcome to our Keep Truckin' webinar, and thanks so much for joining. We're so glad you can make it to join us. We thought it would be fun for our fourth webinar in the series to cover the most recent news that's been out, as well as introduce some of our updates on the Keep Truckin' side. My name is Rachel, and today we also have Barrett, Jason, and Travis joining us. I'm going to start by covering our top topics and introduce the guys afterwards. In the meantime, feel free to ask any questions at any time during the webinar in the box on the left-hand side of the screen. Later on, the guys will help me in a live Q&A session to answer your questions. We're going to hold on to the end, though, so hang tight. Here is a quick overview of our topics down the road for our webinar today. We're going to start off with a small announcement from the FMCSA about the December mandate. And then we just want to introduce a few of our new exciting product features, both on the website and the mobile app, which also goes hand in hand with our brand new referral program that was just launched this week that we're really excited to give you a quick overview about. And then we'll be sure to leave time at the end of our webinar for all your questions after these quick announcements. We're going to kick off today's webinar first with the FMCSA mandate update. This should be a quick one. This was just added a few days ago, a new exemption for short-term rental vehicles. This is separate from the short-haul vehicle exemption. This is specific for drivers that are on the road for 8 days or less in a period out of 30 days. And just wanted to make a special note for these drivers that they should keep a copy on board of their rental agreement, as well as a copy of the FMCSA exemption notice to possibly show enforcement officials. So these drivers are still subject to HOS rules and must keep copies of their rods in the current day and up to the prior 7 days. If you want to download the exemption notice for yourself, I've included a link to the FMCSA site on the right side of the slides. Hopefully you can download that there. We know there have been a lot of questions about exemptions, seeing as how they can be a bit complicated. So feel free to call us. Our support's open 24/7. As well, we're having a exemption-specific webinar next Friday, October 27th. I hope you'll join us for our next webinar. So I just wanted to make sure, if you haven't noticed already, that we have a new mobile app feature on the driver app for Keep Truckin'. We added a DOT inspection mode with a 4-pin screen lock. This helps to increase the privacy for drivers. Each time you'll create a new pin during inspection, and this will help protect your hours of service when your mobile might be in someone else's hands. Here are a couple screenshots I just wanted to share with everyone. If you haven't seen it already in the DOT inspection mode, go ahead, check it out. It's pretty cool. I'm impressed what our team's come up with. So if you just press and hold underneath the begin inspection, this will open up the PIN code feature where you can enter each time a different unique PIN code that you want to use before handing your phone over. And this will just lock the screen and it won't be able to access back into the rest of your Keep Truckin' app unless you enter your 4-digit PIN. So it's pretty easy to understand, but feel free to call us, if you have any questions. So on the website side, I just wanted to mention a few of our TMS integrations. Some are newer than others, and I just wanted to make sure that everyone's heard about them. If you haven't, go check out our Keep Truckin' blog. It's pretty cool to see what all that's been in development recently, from the cloud to Prophecy, Ascend TMS, and TMW is coming soon. So go check out our blog for the most recent news, and hopefully we can answer all of your questions. Feel free to add any questions in that chat box if you want us to answer your question later. So we're pretty excited about this next part of our webinar. We want to give you a quick sneak peek into our self-checkout that's launching soon for small fleets and owner-operators. Ta-da! Here it is. So this is the checkout, the self-checkout that's going to be on KeepTruckin.com. Just wanted to give you a quick intro to this. It may not be sparkly or shiny when you first log in, but there's so much background to this and so much development that's had to go into this. It's been a frequent request from our users that they want the simplest way to get ELD compliant. So we try to make this process as short and quick as possible, easy to use, simple. So first, you're going to start out with creating your KeepTruckin account if you don't have one already, and then it's just a few steps after this. Next, you'll want to set up your company. If you don't have an account already, this is just a basic entry of your DOT number, company name, and your office and seat size. Step 3 is where you'll want to select your ELD plan, whether it's the ELD Starter for $20 a month or ELD Plus if you want the added benefits of the IFTA reporting, driver scorecards, idle time tracking, and vehicle diagnostics. You'll just want to select one of the two, and then you can move on to the next step. Once you know which level of service you'd like, you'll move on to selecting your cable. We've selected the most popular cables out there for the most common vehicles we've encountered. But if you're not sure exactly which cable is best for you, we've also created an option to help with that. So right under the cable selection, you'll find this question, not sure which cable type to select, and you can actually just add your VIN to confirm the cable match. And here's a quick preview of what that will look like. So for 3 ELDs, you'll just enter your 3 VIN codes. Then we're all set and on to step 4. You can just add your shipment details here. So this is where you'll just enter your mailing address. After entering your shipping details is when you'll go on to select your shipping preference. So we've just added the different UPS selections we offer from ground to next day air, so you can decide how speedy you want your ELD to get to your door. Oh shoot, I spilled my coffee. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh wait, it's okay. But I think I need a break. So we've added something to our checkout that I think can help most people in instances like myself if you're a klutz, or if you're just really busy and need to take a phone call. If you want to save your cart for later, just select Buy Later at the bottom of the cart at any time, and you can go back later to complete your checkout. And this is what you'll see if you want to save for later. You'll just be taken to your dashboard where it says you can check back at any time to complete your checkout on the system. We just wanted to show you real quick where you can find your cart if you want to get back to it. You'll just want to go within your dashboard and back to the admin at the top right corner. Then select the ELD section on the left-hand side navigation bar, and you'll be taken to your overview where you'll see any recent orders that might say pending checkout, like in this example here, and you can just complete your order via the link here. And this is great because it takes you right back to the step where you left off, saving your information and picking up where you left off. Last but not least, we'll get to our final step, the payment, the 5th step of the process, where you'll see a quick overview of what you're about to purchase, basically, and the sum of your purchase, as well as here's where you'll enter your credit card information. Woohoo! We just completed our first order. So our ELD order is confirmed, and it looks like we'll just check our email next for the official tracking number and receipt of our order. Wait, so I just purchased an ELD, and now I can get paid for joining KeepTruckin? That's awesome. So we wanted to help our customers to share their news of KeepTruckin ELD with their friends and help to make the compliance easier. So we've launched this new referral program. Just sign up and you can share your unique link with any of your friends, and both of you will each earn $25 per unit that they buy. So for example, if your friend buys 1 ELD, both you and your friend will get $25 a piece. 2 ELDs, $50. 20 ELDs, that's $50 for both you and your friend. And it just keeps going up from there. So if you want to join, if you're interested in our referral program, you can sign up today. You don't have to be a customer. Almost anyone except for KeepTruckin employee can sign up and create their own account. And with the account, you'll get your own unique URL that you can invite your friends with. So once you share your link on any of your social platforms, email, text, just any way that you can reach out to your friends, then as soon as they've purchased their ELDs through your unique code, both of you will get rewarded and start earning your $25 gift cards. So I hope you're as excited as we are about all the new things we just announced. And just wanted to finish this up with a reminder for October 31st is the third quarter deadline for IFTA reports. And as well, just wish everyone a happy Halloween. Okay, bad joke. I can see that we've already had a few questions come in during the first part of our webinar. So feel free to add any questions that might have come to your mind during the first bit, and then we're going to review them real quick. And as well, Jason, Travis, and Barrett are going to join me for our live Q&A starting now.
Great stuff. Thank you very much, Rachel. All right, now we're going to open up, as we said, for some live Q&A. And we have myself, Barrett, with KeepTruckin, and Jason and Travis as well from KeepTruckin. And we have a number of questions you guys have, so we're going to try and get through as many as we can. The first one we have right now is from Bill. Bill asks, when are they going to actually start enforcing the ELD? Travis, you take that one?
Yeah, thanks for the question, Bill. And to introduce myself, thanks, Barrett. This is Travis Baskin. And Bill, yeah, a lot of confusion about this. The mandate is going to be enforced on December 18th. I can't say that strongly enough. If you are without an ELD on December 18th and you don't have a valid exemption, exception, or other reason why you don't have an ELD in your vehicle, you will be found in violation. They will log that violation. They may issue a citation, and you would be subject to fines. I would fully expect that to happen, you know, you could be subject to penalties of through the FMCSA of up to $12,000 for drivers and motor carriers who are found in blatant disregard for the mandate. So they are going to enforce on December 18th. And then in April of April of 2018, they'll begin putting drivers out of service for not having ELDs. So the mandate is coming, enforcement is coming very quickly. I think we're inside of 60 days now.
Awesome. And to clarify that, when you say enforcement, do you mean that they'll still receive fines or citations?
Yes, yes. So from December 18th to April 1st, the CSVA or CDSA and the FMCSA have stated that they are going to be issuing fines and logging violations, issuing citations and logging violations for not having an ELD compliant solution. So it's coming, and it is coming fast.
Awesome. Thank you. Next question we have from Michelle. When edits are made, how and where are they documented? Let's see. Jason, how about you?
Yeah, sure. I'd love to answer that, and thank you for the question. So right now, fleet managers will be able to see when edits are made on their side within our dashboard. Right now, we're working on a way to make it so that even when drivers make edits, that'll be visible in the dashboard as well under that specific driving event in that day's log. We're also, to make it a lot easier for you guys, we're also going to be coming out with a report soon that will feature all log edits. So you'll be able to go through it really easily and see who's been making edits to what logs.
Great. Next, we have a question from Becky. Becky asks, are cattle haulers exempt from the ELD mandate? Travis.
Yeah, that's a great question, Becky. So the short answer is yes for the short period. So back in July, an exemption was passed legislatively through the lawmaking process that delayed livestock haulers having to comply for a year. So the ELD mandate is essentially delayed for livestock haulers until at least September of 2018. So that's the long answer, but the short answer is for right now, yes. In general, livestock haulers are going to be exempted from the mandate until at least September next year.
Next question we have from Tom. Tom's asking about, actually about KeepTruckin. So we have, is there a per unit fee? Example, we have 9 drivers and 6 trucks, and we sometimes bounce from truck to truck. Travis, I'll let you take that one.
So I'm sorry, one more time. This is Tom's question. Is there a per user, per unit fee?
Per unit fee. So they have 9 drivers and 6 trucks. How would their pricing structure look like?
So it's kind of, this is one difficult part about the mandate is how kind of confusing it is. The mandate requires that drivers keep their logs through the ELDs. So that would kind of indicate that you need an ELD for each driver. However, with KeepTruckin, you can have, slip seat supported. You can log in, you can have your drivers log in and then log back out so another driver can log in to that same ELD. In this particular circumstance, I don't want to, don't take this as gospel because every fleet is different, and we want to be able to give you a tailored solution for your specific operation. But based on what you've presented here, 9 drivers, 6 trucks, and they only use those 6 trucks, sounds like you would be okay with just 6 ELDs and proper driver training to make sure that they are logging into and logging out of each of those vehicles every time they go in.
Yeah, and just to piggyback off that, you'd only need 6 hardware devices for the trucks, and then when the driver gets into a truck, they would just connect to that ELD via the KeepTruckin mobile logbook app. Next question from Gordon. Gordon wants to know if our software is FMCSA approved. Jason.
Yes, it is. We were one of the first ELD providers to get approved through the self-certification process through FMCSA. So yes, we are very much approved by them.
Great. Next, let's see here. Emmanuel says, we saw your last post regarding dispatch features with TMW, but would it be able to use it with other in-house transportation management solutions using your API? Jason.
Yeah, this is a great question. So the first thing I want to start out with is talking about our open API. So once you are a customer with us, you are able to access all of your data through our open API. So you can, if you want to funnel it through other programs, if you want to take the data that's being created by the ELD and by the mobile device, you can then use that data and pull that into your other transport management solutions. It's completely up to you guys what you guys want to do with it. We have an open API, and we give you guys access to your own data, as you should have.
Great. We have a question from Christine. It says her owner-operator selected shipping for his ELD, but is taking 3 weeks on back order. I'm going to quickly cover this topic because I think it's one that's arising quickly amongst the industry. And this is not, I think this is common for every ELD vendor across the industry in that the demand for ELDs being purchased is growing very, very fast, and therefore vendors are doing their best to keep up with the demand for those. So it's very much suggested to get orders for ELDs in now, because sometimes shipping or back orders will take place, and if you don't receive it in time by December 18th, then you risk being getting in violations or citations. So Christine brings up a good point that orders need to be placed very, very soon, because the realistic nature is there could be back orders as the demand skyrockets. Let's see here. Cynthia asks, as a commercial staffing company, how are we to apply this since our drivers will be in different vehicles by working for multiple clients? Travis.
Yeah. So, Cynthia, this is kind of a complicated one in that, you know, I'd like to get a little more information about exactly what your operation kind of looks like. There's a few, you know, there's a few considerations that you'll want to use. For instance, you know, I'd like to know who owns these vehicles, who you know maintains the support for them. So this is a pretty complicated one, Cynthia, and I'd like to circle back and be able to give you you know, a better answer, and we'll be able to contact you offline with it after we get done with the webinar. But thank you for the question, and this is just highlights how the mandate will be affecting each individual operation in sometimes different ways. And you know, in order to give you a good answer, we often will need a little bit more information, and that's why you know, we're made available you know, all day, and you can always give us a phone call.
Thanks, Cynthia. Next question we have from Richard. I heard that Bluetooth might be revoked next year. What do we do if that happens? Jason, can you touch on this?
Yeah, sure. So Bluetooth is one of the technologies we've been using for a while to connect mobile devices to our ELDs, and it's an easy way for you to do it, and it's usually pretty reliable. We are never going to revoke it. Bluetooth is something that, like I said, we've been using for a while, and we understand every mobile device has Bluetooth. Every tablet or phone that's come out in probably the last 5 years comes with Bluetooth. So we want to continue utilizing this technology as well as expanding on other ways to connect the device, but we don't, in any foreseeable future, we do not see Bluetooth going away, so you don't have to worry about that.
And to piggyback off that, for our current Android devices, we do allow for a USB connection as well. So again, Bluetooth's not going away, but we do offer multiple connection opportunities. Next question we have on some KeepTruckin pricing. Travis, can you cover what the hardware ELD Plus pricing is like?
Sure. So as it stands right now, you can get our ELD Plus package. You know, that solution to your door, installed in your vehicle for no charge for the hardware up front. We're essentially we'll kind of lease you the ELD, and we'll send you the cables, and you'll pay the cost of the ELD Plus package, which is $30 a month, and you'll pay the full cost of the year's subscription, and we'll send you the hardware to your doorstep and give you all of the instruction that you'll need to install and connect to the ELD and get started. So essentially $360 a year for our ELD Plus package, and you'll be ready to go per unit, and you'll be ready to go.
Thanks, Travis. Jason, I got one for you. Can you go over some high-level details about actually how the ELD works?
Sure. So the ELD connects directly through the ECM port into the truck and pulls data directly from the truck's engine. Okay, so this is where it's generating all the data. It's pulling directly from that. Now, this data is then pushed to the mobile phone through Bluetooth or through USB if you have an Android phone, and then from there it's getting sent to our servers and to the dashboard for you guys to see. So that's basically how the ELD itself works. So it pulls information directly from your vehicle. It's nothing is tampered with or anything like that. It's just pulling information directly from that, and it's getting sent through the mobile phone so that you guys can then see it in the dashboard.
Great. To touch on that a little bit more, Gordon, I see your question here, asking if you can get a URL to YouTube or other video sharing channels so you can see how the ELD is demonstrated. I think that's a great idea, and we will definitely include a URL in the follow-up email along with the recording of this webinar so you guys can reference that. But we have a lot of really great videos on YouTube and a lot of really good support videos and articles on our website. They'll help walk you through the step-by-step process of either how to get the ELD set up or how to connect to it or anything else that you would need to know to be up and running. Next question. How to pull IFTA from KeepTruckin to your computer to save it in a PDF format. Jason.
Sure. So we came out with this really cool IFTA feature that pulls the miles per jurisdiction data for you automatically. So you don't have to worry every time you cross state lines of keeping track of how long a driver has been driving in a state. It'll do that for you. And so what's really great is in our IFTA feature, we have a really easy way to export it. All you have to do is just go into the IFTA tab on the dashboard, and you're able to export a full report directly from there into PDF format or an Excel format. So we try to make it as easy as possible for you guys to help you out with it.
Great. Question from Alan, and I think this is a really important question that everybody should pay attention to because we get this question frequently. But Travis, will the KeepTruckin app alone satisfy the ELD mandate, or does there have to be something that plugs into the vehicle ECM?
Yeah, thank you, Alan, for asking that question. Short answer is no. So the KeepTruckin app is good right now because it satisfies the requirements 395A of the record of duty status provision in the regulation. However, the mandate specifically requires that the drive time and the record of duty status be taken directly from the truck, directly from the vehicle. So it specifically requires that a device be hardwired into the ECM. So continuing to just manually record your drive time on the KeepTruckin app will not satisfy the mandate on December 18th. There would be some circumstances when you would be able to continue to use your KeepTruckin app, say when you are say when your ELD malfunctions or you have some other issue with it, then you can revert back to recording your drive time and your record manually through the KeepTruckin app. But unless you have some exception, you have to have a device that plugs into the ECM, and continuing to just record on the app is not going to be compliant with the mandate.
Thank you, Travis. We have a quick one from Beth that I want to touch on. Beth says she's an owner-operator and wants to know if she has to use an ELD. The quick and dirty answer, Beth, is as long as you don't qualify for any of the current exemptions, then yes, all owner-operators will have to comply with the ELD mandate come December 18th. The good thing is KeepTruckin works very, very well with all size fleets, but we work especially well with small and owner-operator fleets too. Let's see, what's the next question? From Bill. We are a driver leasing company. Our drivers may work for several trucking companies in any given week. Is there a provision for multi-employer drivers? Jason, can you cover that real quick?
Yeah, sure. So, and Travis, please feel free to step in at any time to add more onto this, but there is not a provision for multi-employer drivers. So you are still required to have an ELD. It'll be tougher with having multi-employers, but you will still be required to have an ELD. So it's important to make sure that you get a solution that is flexible enough that you're able to use it for multiple employers. And I think that KeepTruckin does the best job at doing that. And
yeah, and Jason, to follow up, thank you. That is exactly right. And I just ran into this issue earlier this week and consulted with our expert in the field, a former leader at the FMCSA, and that is exactly right. There is no provision that allows you to not have an ELD for multiple employers. Now, there is a recent exemption for rental trucks, but that doesn't sound like it's specifically here.
Thanks. We have a question from Pam. Pam says, we're a small construction company. We only use our trucks for moving equipment or supplies. We use our IFTA in the event that we have to go over state lines. Does the ELD mandate apply to us? Travis.
Now, let me see. Pam, removing our equipment and supplies, I apologize. It sounds like yes. You know, there's no, the short answer is, Pam, if y'all currently have to keep records of duty status, then you are going to have to keep your records of duty status on an ELD per the mandate after December 18th. There's no exemption for small companies. There's no exemption for particularly or specifically construction companies. In fact, we've got a lot of customers who specifically run supplies and equipment, and we work great with those fleets, and I expect that we work great with yours as well.
Great. Next question I have from Alex. Jason, I'll let you take this one. If our truck will be in storage but not being used throughout the winter, will it be okay if we get an ELD before we take it out on the road next time, or does the ELD have to be plugged in the truck before December 18th, even though it won't be on the road between November 20th and June 15th?
Yeah, I completely understand the issue that you're having, but the ELD mandate states that you need to have it installed prior to December 18th. Even if you're not going to be on the road before June 15th, now they're not going to be able to say anything to you because you're not going to get pulled over or anything like that. But I would make sure that it is installed because it says directly in the mandate that you have to have it installed. It's not when you purchase it, it's when you install it. So it needs to be installed in the truck before December 18th.
Great.
And if I might, Barrett, I want to clarify specifically. If you're planning to run your ELD as an AOBRD, then it does need to be installed before December 18th. I think that might have been what Alex was asking about, and just wanted to clarify that.
Thank you. Question from Durrell. Durrell wants to know if we can explain a little bit more of the difference between AOBRD and ELD. Jason.
Sure, and this is a question that we get pretty often. One of the main differences between AOBRD and ELDs is that the AOBRD legislation does not specify at what miles per hour limit that it starts automatically recording, where the ELD starts recording at 5 miles per hour. So that's one of the really biggest differences. There's also reassigning driving events and reclassifying them as a yard move or personal conveyance that makes the AOBRD a little bit more flexible. And those are the major differences, and this is why we're opening up this feature to kind of give fleets the flexibility to do this if they need to.
Great. Next question from Katrina. What are the steps to show your logbooks to an officer when an inspection occurs? Also, how do you print your logbooks, and how do you send them via email to the officer? Jason.
So we have a really great DOT inspection mode. I know this was touched upon earlier in the presentation about the access code that locks it in the DOT inspection mode. But when you're showing those logs to a DOT officer when an inspection occurs, you can just go into the DOT inspection mode and it'll show them 8 days of logs, which makes it really easy. They're not able to access anything else in the app So it makes it super easy for your drivers and make sure that they don't access any information. The DOT officer doesn't access any information that they don't need access to. In terms of printing your logbooks, drivers can log on to the dashboard and print it off themselves if they want, or the fleet manager has access to that as well. And all they have to do is in the logs tab, they can choose which logs they want to download, and they can just download them as PDFs. Now, in terms of actually sending them to the officer, you can do that through the DOT inspection mode as well. So we make it really simple for you guys to show DOT officers how to show them what your logs are, and then actually being able to print them off if you so choose to do so.
Great. Another quick question from Bill. I know we've briefly touched on IFTA, but can you explain quickly how the IFTA feature works? Jason.
Yeah. So IFTA we're constantly working on building out and making better, because we understand how annoying recording miles manually can be in trying to figure out how to actually apply for IFTA. So we're trying to make it as easy as possible for you guys. So the first thing that we came out with was the state-by-state jurisdiction. So it'll automatically record how many miles are spent by each driver or by each vehicle in each state, so you guys can actively keep track of that without having to manually do that yourself. We also have this great feature that drivers can take pictures of their fuel receipts, and that'll appear in the documents so that you can have access to that. And then from there, you can actually do a bulk upload of all your fuel purchases through an Excel spreadsheet, through a template that we provide on our dashboard. And you can upload all of your fuel information directly in there. So you can upload everything from what gas station they were at to how much they spent and how many gallons that they purchased. So that is what our IFTA feature is like now. We're continually improving it, and we're working on different fuel card integrations and really just trying to make it easier for you guys to file for IFTA, because we know it's complicated.
Next question from Danny. How does the installation process work for the ELD into the trucks? Do we have a representative that comes out and installs the equipment, or is it very user-friendly? Jason.
The installation process is extremely easy for the majority of the time. I've gone out and I've installed them in trucks in less than 5 minutes. We have also a great video tutorial online through our YouTube channel that walks you through the entire process. And of course, if you need anything else, we have a 24/7 support line that's more than happy to be on the phone with you and walk you through all the steps. So we try to make it as painless as possible for the installation process, where you don't need anyone else to install it for you.
And I really want to emphasize what Jason just said, because if there's one thing that we really pride ourselves on at KeepTruckin is that we have spent years making sure that the logbook app and the ELD and everything else that goes into technology and hardware is very intuitive, very easy to use, very easy to install. And so to quick answer this question, yes, it's very easy to do and user-friendly. And as Jason mentioned, our 24-hour, 24/7 support will always help you if you do have questions. Next, we have one from Charlotte. We hire owner-operators. How do the drivers log personal conveyance? Jason, you take this one again too?
Yeah, sure. So first, that driver has to be enabled for personal conveyance through the dashboard. So the fleet managers can just go into and edit the driver settings to allow for them to select personal conveyance. Then once they're enabled on the dashboard side, from the fleet manager side, the drivers can then go into the app, and when they're changing duty statuses, they can choose off duty, and before they hit save, there's a box that will appear below the log graph that says personal conveyance, and they can enable it right there. Just hit the checkbox and hit save, and then they're in personal conveyance until they change their duty status. So it's a pretty easy process.
Great. Next question from Thomas. This is kind of a long question, Thomas, so I'm gonna shorten it a little bit, but I think we'll still be able to answer it thoroughly. Basically, is there a mile exemption radius from the home base? In other words, if a route driver leaves the home base and makes all the deliveries within the 8-hour time, but is less than 100 miles per day. Travis, can you cover that one?
Yeah, yeah, Thomas, thanks for the question. Yes, there is. There's an exemption from the record of duty status rule, and therefore the ELD, that if you are a driver within 100 air miles of your home terminal and you start and end your day at that home location, that you don't have to have an ELD installed in the vehicle. And that will continue as well going forward.
Question from Gary. Does the cell phone or tablet have to be specifically installed on a bracket, or could it be anywhere in the truck? Travis, can you do that one?
Sure. So there has been a little bit of confusion on this. The ELD display simply must be able to be seen. It does need to be it needs to be able to be seen by the driver without distracting him or her on the roadway, and it needs to be able to be shown to an officer on the roadside. That's about as good as the guidance has been from the FMCSA. That's as flatly as the mandate has stated it. So a bracket, a fixed position is definitely going to be the best deal. A fixed position where you can remove it and show it to the driver, show it to the officer at a roadside compliance situation would be the most ideal.
Next question from Michael. When you retire a truck, can the ELD be assigned to a new truck? Travis, you take that one?
Yeah. So when you retire a truck, you take it out of service and you replace it, you can take that ELD that was in the old truck and put it straight into to the new one. And then you just go on the back side and you reassign it in our back office administrative panel. It's a very, very easy process, and you can continue to operate that ELD exactly the same way as you were on that old truck. So yes, you can reassign these ELDs.
Thank you. Shirley, I just saw your question come in, and we've touched on this, but I'll quickly answer it again because I want to make sure you receive your answer. But Shirley asks, our drivers currently use the free app. Is there a hardware device required to install into the trucks to be ELD compliant? Travis, can you cover that real quick? I know we've spoken about it, but to help Shirley real quick.
Yeah, sure, Shirley. So yes, you're going to have to we're going to have to get the hardware installed into the vehicles. The free app is compliant as of right now, but come December 18th, in order to stay compliant with the rules and with the ELD mandate, you're going to have the ELDs installed and plugged in to the trucks in order to operate after December 18th.
Great. Next question. We have a question about, could you please elaborate on our cellular or CELD? Jason.
Yeah, definitely. So this is something that we're really excited about, and basically there's cell service. There's a cell chip that's located within the ELD itself that allows data, some of it, to get automatically transmitted directly to your dashboard. So it still requires you for your drivers to connect their phone to the ELD, because otherwise we wouldn't know which driver drove those events. But all the other information that is not associated with the driver in the logs, such as location history is the biggest one, but also IFTA and everything else, that'll get automatically transmitted through the ELD without the connection of the phone. So it allows fleet managers to really have a better eye in keeping track of what's going on with their drivers and where they're at any given time.
Great. Question from Sergio. In case I need to keep my logs stored electronically more than 6 months, How can this be done? Do I have to download my logs to a storage device, or do you also provide that service for this? Jason.
Yes. Excuse me. So we keep your logs for however long you need them to be kept. We will not delete them at any time. This is no add-on or anything else. They will be stored on the KeepTruckin dashboard for much longer than 6 months. So you don't have to worry about your logs going anywhere. You don't have to worry about downloading them to a storage device. They will be on the dashboard for as long as you need them.
Question from Tom. What will happen if there is no connection to data transfer for several days or hours? Jason.
So if there's no connection to transfer the data from the ELD and from the phone to the dashboard for several hours or days, that data will get stored on the ELD. We have enough memory where it would be able to store for at least a couple months for all the data. But we'd rather you didn't do that. We'd rather you sync it whenever possible. So basically what happens then, once you get reconnected, all of that data will get pushed to our servers right away. So that will get to the dashboard once they have connection back. So you don't have to worry about losing any data or anything like that. It will be saved on the ELD, and it'll get pushed to the dashboard once it has connection again.
Great. Question from Danella. How long is the IFTA report available before it's archived? Jason.
The IFTA report is always available. You can choose to set any kind of date time frame that you want. You're able to go in and actually select whichever dates that you want. So it doesn't ever become archived. It's there as long as you want it to be.
Great. Let's see here. Question from Jesus. Are California owner-operators exempt? Travis.
Sure. Let me see here. Intrastate, California intrastate owner-operators, if you're only operating within the state of California, then you're not subject to the federal rule. Now, California has indicated, and we fully expect that they will be adopting an ELD mandate at some point going forward, but they haven't formally initiated the process, and they haven't indicated, when that is going to be. But it would be this would be a good time to kind of talk about how a number of other intrastate rules are going into effect, including Texas is going to be enforcing the ELD mandate as of 2019, and Florida is currently working on its ELD mandate timing. So if you only operate within the state of California, then you're not going to be subject to the ELD mandate right now, but you should probably start looking at finding a solution because it will be coming down the road.
Great. Next question from Gordon. If a state trooper or DMV inspector asks a driver for electronic log and it happened to be a driver with no cellular signal in that area on his phone, what are the options to satisfy the officer's request? Jason.
Thanks for this question. I think it's a really important question because there's some ELD providers out there that there's not much you can do. But luckily with KeepTruckin, we give you guys a solution, and this goes back to Bluetooth and the power of it. So as long as the phone is connected to the ELD device, it's still getting all of that log data. So you don't have to worry about not having internet connection or anything like that, because the data will be saved onto the mobile device, onto the phone or onto the tablet. So if a state trooper asks you for your logs and you don't have any cell reception, it won't matter because you'll have that data transmitted through Bluetooth to your phone, and you'll be able to show them all of your logs without any issues.
Great. Question from John. Does KeepTruckin have an HOS Ag exemption program for the agricultural haulers in California and other states? I'll let either one of you pick that one. Jason or Travis?
Well, I'll go ahead. So this is a very specific issue. I think what you're asking is, do we support do we support toggling a function within our app that would state that you were driving under an agricultural exemption within California, or to broaden it, other specific exemptions? And I know, and Jason could probably speak a little more to this, that we are currently developing that type of functionality specifically for the 100 air mile exemption that I spoke about briefly earlier, and the 150 air mile exemption that applies countrywide. I think that if we'll take a look at the ag exemption in California and see about increasing it or putting that specific exemption functionality into the device later on. But I think Jason could probably speak more to that.
Yeah. So the next question we have from Marcia: why do drivers need a passcode? Because anyway, when you give the DOT inspection mode, it gives you the last 7 days.
I can go ahead and answer this one, and this is an important question and something that we were really looking at when we were building out this feature, and it's something that was very highly requested from a lot of fleet managers and drivers who were especially worried about what the DOT officer has access to. So before, in our DOT inspection mode, they would just go in and it would just show the logs. But if a DOT officer really wanted, he could easily just go out of it, go into the app, see all the violations, see all the messages between you and your fleet manager and anything else that was in the app. So he was seeing much more than he needed to see, when all he asked for was just the past 7 or 8 days logs, right? So this is why we implemented this access lock code for the DOT inspection mode, so that drivers they feel like a DOT officer cannot access any information that they don't need to. Instead of having drivers self-incriminate themselves by giving them access to everything in the app, they can just show them those 7 days of logs, which is it's a huge benefit for drivers who are on the road dealing with DOT officers all the time.
Great. Next question from Eddie: if the driver makes a mistake and forgets to change the status on what he is doing, can that be edited? Jason?
Yes, that can be edited as long as it's on duty or off duty. You're not able to edit drive time, and that just goes in line with the ELD mandate. But if someone is on duty and they just forget to go off duty for a couple hours, they can go back into that day's log and adjust that to reflect, saying, like, make that edit and make an annotation saying that they just forgot to switch into off duty. So we try to make it really easy for you by for drivers, enabling them to edit their logs within the app for the past 2 weeks. And then more than that, your fleet manager can easily go in and edit it as well. So we try to make it as easy as possible for you guys to make sure that your hours of service are correct.
Thanks. Next question from Darrell: does the ELD record mileage automatically, or does it have to be inputted? Jason?
This is a really good question. So we pull the mileage directly from the truck's ECM, and that's in line with what the mandate actually says. So it will record it automatically, and it'll reflect that within the dashboard for the odometer readings and then how much the mileage actually is for almost all of our trucks, which is awesome. So it gives you the opportunity to really keep track of the mileage on all your trucks and how much they're driving on any given day.
Thanks. We have a pricing question from Ariel that I'll cover real quick. They ask, is there a contract or will we pay annually? Their fleet currently has 35 trucks. So how our current pricing structure is set up is that there is a 1-year contract and you pay annually up front per device. So if you do our starter package, that's $240 annually. Or if you do our plus package, it's $360 annually per device. So you could do $240 times 35 or $360 times 35 for the 1-year contract. Next question from Earl. Will your app automatically switch between U.S. and Canada hours of service when crossing the border? Jason.
Yeah, and this is a really good question. So if you're switching between the U.S. and Canada, you will get a pop-up that'll just come up on your screen that says, do you want to switch cycle rules? So we try to make it really easy for drivers who are going to be crossing borders pretty frequently, that when that border cross happens, they will get a notification that allows them to easily within the app just change their cycle rule to reflect whether that's the U.S. cycle rule or the Canadian cycle rule.
Thanks. Travis, one for you from Crystal. Can you help explain a little more detail on what personal conveyance is?
Sure. Barrett, Crystal, so a personal conveyance is essentially the authorized personal use of the commercial vehicle for off-duty purposes. The guidance that the FMCSA has come out and illustrated, the circumstances that they've illustrated are, when you undo your trailer and you are at a stop and you're off, and you want to go to a restaurant, or something to that effect before you start your sleep for the next day. So it's those types of personal uses. The specificity of it is that you can't have your trailer on it. It's got to be an unladen commercial vehicle, and it's just for use for local run and for those types of personal uses. Going to the restaurant, going to watch a movie, something to that effect.
Thanks, Travis. All right, we have time for one more question, and this one's from Anit. Is the time used as a yard move still used in the calculation for drive time? Jason.
So yard move, by definition, is classified as on duty. So it will count toward your day's clock because it is on duty, but it will not count toward your drive time. So your drivers need to make sure that when they are completing yard moves, that they go into the app before they make it, select yard move, and then drive. And then that will make sure that that doesn't count toward their drive time.
Thank you, Jason. Okay, everyone, we've neared our ending time. I'm very sorry that we can't get to everyone's question. We tried to get to as many as we could. I want to thank Travis and Jason and Rachel for all helping out with this. For those of you that asked questions that we were not able to get to, we will definitely follow up with you personally and get those questions answered. I know there's lots of them around the mandate or around how the product works and things like that, so we'll get those addressed. As Rachel mentioned earlier, next week we're going to host a webinar dedicated to covering questions about exemptions. So be sure to look out from an email from us so you can get registered and come with all the different questions you have about exemptions. As well, we'll share some content about the current ones that are being offered. Again, thank you very much, everyone, and we look forward to talking to you soon. Have a good day. Bye.